Hello students, here's a quick reminder of how systems of equations work. This is where math just starts getting complicated. Scary for some. If you Google the definition of system of equations, you're going to get lots of different math answers. For me, it's when two or more equations have equal signs, involving the same variables. By the same variables, I mean that this x is worth the same as this x. They're the same x. Or this y is worth the same as this y. They are worth the same. They're the same variables. To solve them, if we had graph paper or a graph, we could solve them by graphing, because you might know how to graph these slope-intercept form equations. Or you could solve them algebraically. One way to solve a system of equations is substitution, by making your equation into a y equal or x equal equation. These are y equal. Or by elimination, which means you add or subtract your two equations together to get rid of all the x's or get rid of all the y's. Now, the answers to system of equation problems might be one point where the equations cross each other, where these linear equations meet. That means x would equal a certain number and y would equal a certain number. That doesn't always happen though. X and y don't always equal something, because sometimes your equations don't ever cross, because they're parallel lines. Parallel lines never cross. So you'd write no solution on a multiple choice test or on a short answer test. They don't ever cross. These lines don't ever cross. Sometimes they cross everywhere, because you'll do some algebra or you'll graph them and you'll find out they were the exact same line. They were just written different ways. On a multiple choice test or short answer test, you'd write infinite solutions if they were the same line, because they cross everywhere. Those lines were right on top of each other. Sometimes it's easier than all that though. Like in my example, I can see if they have the same m, that means they have the same slope and they're parallel. If they're parallel and I can see they have the same slope real quick, I know that I could write no solution. I realize that's a lot to understand, and we didn't even actually do a problem. So take the time to really let it sink in how system of equations work. It can be complicated.